How's it hanging, everybody? So today we're talking about Dragon Quest. Why? Well, we like to talk about Dragon Quest here on the channel, but we need to address an ongoing issue that is happening with the Dragon Quest series. Doesn't seem to be happening with that many other Square Enix properties, but it's definitely happening with Dragon Quest, and I'm not quite sure why, but we're going to talk about the mainline series today. We're going to talk about Dragon Quest 1 all the way up into 11. I'm actually going to cover them in reverse order, like Dragon Quest 11 we're going to talk about first, then 10, then 9, 8, etc. And we're just going to talk about the availability, the accessibility of each and every entry in the series. And spoiler, it ain't pretty. It's a bad situation Square Enix has gotten us into as consumers and as Dragon Quest enthusiasts. A little bit of history about me. I'm kind of a noob around here. I'm kind of a poser with Dragon Quest because I only really got into the series about 3 years ago. I played my first Dragon Quest title, Dragon Quest 11S for the Nintendo Switch. It was the summer of 2020. We were in lockdown. We were bored in our homes. I certainly was. And I was looking for things to do. I was wanting to play a really different game, a game to challenge me, a game that would test my patience. And so I decided to play something that I wasn't really too familiar or comfortable with, and that is a Japanese role-playing game. I played Dragon Quest 11S. I played it all the way through. It blew me away. One of the most enjoyable things I've ever done in gaming was playing that game all the way through. It was a pleasure, start to finish, all 100 hours. And ever since then, I've been chasing that same feeling. I've managed to play like 30 JRPGs, mostly Japanese role-playing games, in the past 3 years, which is just kind of crazy to me that I've managed to play that many. But I've never found one that I like as much as Dragon Quest 11. And this, of course, when we talk about this topic, Dragon Quest 11 is the exception to the rule. It is the outlier. It is available everywhere because it's the newest game in the series. It's not terribly new. It's 2017, but it's on just about everything. So if you want to play Dragon Quest 11, which I highly recommend, go find Dragon Quest 11S. If you take anything away from my channel, just go play this game. I mean, it's the only one you can play. So it kind of, your choice is made up, or your mind is made up if you haven't played this game on which one to start with. It's this one. Play Dragon Quest 11. Okay, I think it's worth mentioning and acknowledging that Square Enix is doing really good preservation efforts with their different franchises, different games. Obviously, Final Fantasy, if you want to play a Final Fantasy game, you're good on pretty much every platform. They got you covered. The only one that you can't really play everywhere is the latest one, 16, because it's PlayStation exclusive, but whatever. Then we look at things like the Mana series, the Saga series, the Ogre series. We looking at the Chrono series. You can play, Chrono Cross on modern platforms, which is kind of crazy, as well as a Satellaview game, Radical Dreamers, which is part of the Chrono trilogy. Why is it that Square Enix is porting Satellaview games, but not Dragon Quest mainline games? It doesn't make any sense. We've also got series like Star Ocean. Star Ocean is, kind of, I think, a B series in the Square Enix equation. But it's also a game that many people love. I fully recognize that, but I think we have to recognize it as a kind of B series, B tier series. It's just not quite up there with something like, a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. But they're still making preservation efforts to remake, remaster games in that series. You can play multiple mainline Star Ocean games on, say, like the Nintendo Switch. Can't do that with Dragon Quest. Kind of weird, kind of funny, just saying. Why are we getting these games but not arguably one of the flagship series from Square Enix, that being Dragon Quest? I don't know. But anyway, that's Dragon Quest 11. Let's move on to Dragon Quest 10. This is, of course, an online game, a massive multiplayer online game that is exclusive to Japan. And it has been since like the Nintendo Wii era. And many people have wanted this game to come have a global release, myself included. I've definitely been sad that this is the big gap in our catalog that we can't really play anywhere. Emulation or mobile or whatever, it's just absent completely. However, they just made Dragon Quest X offline, which I was super stoked about when they announced it, because I was like, okay, so this is going to be Square Enix's way to give the global Dragon Quest community a way to play Dragon Quest X. Finally, we get Dragon Quest X. That is fantastic. But we still don't have it. We still don't have Dragon Quest X offline, which is, I just, you're gonna go through all this trouble to make the game in an offline state so that you can localize it and give it to other people in the world, right? No, apparently not yet anyway. I'm really holding on hope for this one because I think that we're gonna get Dragon Quest X offline eventually. I don't know what the holdup is. Someone said something about, the game ends on a cliffhanger, so they have to add in more DLC content to get a more like satisfying conclusion to the game, because there's many different DLC packs and events that have happened in the game over the years. They're still actually updating Dragon Quest X, which is kind of crazy. Makes us feel very left out. But hopefully we get this one. And then we talk about Dragon Quest IX. Dragon Quest IX was only available on the DS. And what we're going to find as we go deeper into these entries, Square Enix really put all their marbles into the DS and the 3DS for these games. If you have a DS or 3DS, you can play the games. Not in a desirable format, because both of those platforms feel very dated when I play them. I love my 3DS, don't get me wrong. I love my DS Lite. I still have them both, and I love them very much. But I don't want to play like a 40-hour, 50, 60-hour experience on that tiny little thing. Sorry, I need, this is the age of hybrid platforms. We got the Steam Deck, we got the Nintendo Switch. That's how I want to play games like this moving forward. Or just on a big TV, that would work too. So for me, this one is a weird one, Dragon Quest IX, because it's exclusive to the DS, and it really uses a lot of the DS technology. It uses it has kind of an online feature set, which was very novel back in 2009 when it came out. But, at the end of the day, Dragon Quest IX is kind of a title that I'm willing to give Square Enix the most grace on out of all of these entries, because, well, it's just going to be more difficult, more challenging to port this game. They're probably going to have to remaster it entirely or remake it, one or the other. And so I'm willing to give Square Enix that grace, give them some more time to figure this one out. This one's a weird one, so we really need to be more concerned about things like Dragon Quest VIII, because Dragon Quest VIII is fantastic. And what have they done to preserve this game? Well, they've done what they've done with most of these games. They put it on mobile. Instead of the Nintendo Switch, instead of PlayStation 4 and 5, instead of name any other platform, you can only play this game on modern platforms on mobile. But let's be clear, this is a very dated mobile port. I mean, this game is probably like, I don't know exactly what year this came out on mobile, but it's a dated mobile game. So even by mobile standards, it's not going to be the greatest experience. So what we really need is Dragon Quest VIII to be made available on modern platforms. And I suggest, Square Enix, if you're listening, I suggest that we just get a simple as possible port of the 3DS version. Can we just have that upscaled on modern platforms? If you can switch it to 60 frames per second, that would be super sweet. If not, I'm willing to look past that. If you can, fix the menus, upscale the menus, clean those up so they're not all pixelated, that would be cool too. That's about all you have to do. The game is otherwise content complete. You've got all the assets you need. Do I know anything about game development? Absolutely not, but it just seems like this is an easy one. And I don't think we're likely to get this one anytime soon. I hope I'm wrong, because this is one of the best in the series. But for me, this is one I've played all the way through. I had a fantastic time with it, but I really am a little bit salty that I had to resort, or I feel I had to resort to emulation to just have a somewhat modern feeling experience with this title. This is next to Dragon Quest XI, this is like really the big kind of AAA feeling Dragon Quest title. So they really need to give us this one. It's a gem for sure in the series. So hopefully we get it. I don't think a lot of work would be necessary, but what do I know? Okay, next up, Dragon Quest VII. Similarly, this was on 3DS. I'm seeing right here that it came out on mobile. Is that even right? I'm going to check really quick. I don't think that's right. By the way, the little like banner images that we're looking at today, these come from IGN.com. IGN's actually become a pretty good games like database, believe it or not. I actually like IGN. I'm not hating. But let's see here. Dragon Quest VII. Is Dragon Quest VII on mobile? I don't think it is. I think that's an error on this site. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't think Dragon Quest VII was ever made available on mobile. I think it was, the only modern version that we have is on the 3DS. This one is in a similar place to Dragon Quest XI. I think they can take that version, upscale it, and all of that good stuff. I don't have, any real reverence to this game yet because I haven't played it yet. Because this is a very, very long game. And if anybody's going to play this game, I think having a good platform, a preferable platform to play it on would be pretty huge for Dragon Quest VII because it's absurdly long. That's what I hear anyway. So that's kind of the state of Dragon Quest VII. Still not available on modern platforms, not even available on mobile. Now we're going to look at Dragon Quest VI. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting because these Dragon Quest 6 through 4 through 6, are kind of all in the same state here. They have DS versions. Those DS versions were ported to mobile. The mobile versions play in landscape mode. Portrait mode. Portrait mode. They play vertically oriented, which is not the ideal way to play a classic JRPG that was designed to be played on a TV. That's just my 2 cents. You can also play, I think that Dragon Quest VIII, the mobile version, is also in portrait mode. So here's the thing. I've played one of these games. I've played Dragon Quest V on mobile, on my tablet. It's a big tablet. It's a nice tablet. And I played the whole game that way. I went back and forth on how I wanted to do it. Do I want to dust off the 3DS to play the DS version? Do I want to emulate? What am I doing? What am I doing? So I just decided to try the mobile version because I feel like I would have more to offer to conversations like this if I've actually played one of these on mobile. So I did. Now let's just jump over to Dragon Quest V because again, Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6, these are all in the same boat. Dragon Quest V, fantastic game. Absolutely great. It was on mobile. I didn't like playing it on mobile. I didn't like the controls. They constantly bothered me. But at the end of the day, it's still just a really good game. And even if you're on mobile, you're kind of going to find that flow state and be able to enjoy the game on that platform. And I guess that's one silver lining that I would mention here is that, I don't want to play these games on mobile. You probably don't want to play these games on mobile either. If you want to, go for it. If that's your preferred platform, or if you just don't have any other gaming platforms, play your games on mobile. Not knocking it, not even a little bit. And you can have a great time with this game on mobile because it's just a great game. So Dragon Quest V, Dragon Quest IV, let's get these games a simple port of this mobile version. We have to reorient the game to a landscape display mode. We have to clean up the menus. And I mean, that's about it. I don't know what else you could really do. We just need really, really basic ports of Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6. So it's like, it's just right there, Square Enix. Like, you've given us the 1 through 3 trilogy on modern platforms. which is great. Thank you. Thank you for that. We're about to talk about those. Those, again, like Dragon Quest XI, are our only outliers on this list in terms of their modern accessibility. But Dragon Quest 4 through 6, these are classic games that are, I think that, okay, so Dragon Quest 4 had a PlayStation remake, but it was exclusive to Japan. And that remake looks almost identical to the DS version, which is this version's ported from. The mobile versions of these games are ported from DS. So basically, these are all PlayStation 1 graphics. And they look, very old school. They look really good. I mean, they're very well made. Pixel art in a 3D kind of world. So Square Enix, I don't know how you want to tackle this, man. I don't know what you have up your sleeve. Obviously, we're going to get these games eventually. I just don't know what's taking so very long. Again, you guys are remaking and remastering everything under the sun, and I appreciate that. I'm sure many people viewing this video appreciate that as well. But come on, man. To have almost this whole series completely inaccessible on modern platforms with that tiny asterisk of mobile, come on, man. Come on. Sorry, I had a little Francis moment there for a moment, but yeah, so that's the state of Dragon Quest 4 through 6. Seems like these are the easiest to just do a simple port for. And it seems like it would be minimal developmental effort. Do I know anything about game development? No, I do not. But I just cannot imagine there being significant challenges here. Square Enix, give us 4 through 6, please, and do it immediately. Go to developer.nintendo.com, click publish all. Please. Just, are you going to make us wait another console generation for these? Come on now. All right, now we're talking Dragon Quest 3. This is a very interesting one because we do have an HD 2D remake of this game coming, and we don't know when it's coming. We don't have a release date. We don't know if it's coming this year. We have no idea. And that's cool. I'm glad that Square Enix is doing something with mainline Dragon Quest here in the West, beyond just developing Dragon Quest 12. That's cool that they're doing this. However, interestingly enough, Dragon Quest 3 is probably, of all the unavailable Dragon Quest games, this is probably the least necessary to remake. Why? Because this version that we have on the Nintendo Switch, on the PS4, is quite serviceable. It's not perfect, it's got some issues. The character sprites are an abomination. You can do a lot better. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, for Dragon Quest 1 through 3, Square Enix, thank you for giving us these on modern platforms. We really appreciate it. I don't know where the rest are, but at least we have these 3, and that's really cool. Gotta give you your props for that. However, you know what the issues are with these 3 titles. The character sprites were made for mobile almost 10 years ago, and they don't look good. They look quite bad. So can we fix those up? Can you patch the games and offer an old school sprite mode? I think that the backgrounds in this game are derived from the Super Famicom versions of these games, which were exclusive to Japan. Why don't you give us an option to switch the character sprites to those classic versions? That would be pretty sweet, right? I think so. It would shut everybody up who has this one criticism, myself included. Just give us an option to swap the sprites out for old school sprites. Easy peasy. Your developers, you can have an intern do that over the weekend. Probably not, but it would probably be pretty easy to just, patch that in. Another thing that should be probably addressed about these versions of 1, 2, and 3 on modern platforms is the stutter. Now, I'm kind of more forgiving of the stutter than a lot of people I think would be, because the stutter is kind of, it bothers you when you first start playing the game, but as you sort of keep going, it doesn't bother you quite as much. It kind of just works itself out. At least it did with my playthrough of Dragon Quest 1. So I think it should be fixed. I mean, I think it's kind of inexcusable to have these games in that state. It's like, just make your games not stutter, please. I know these are ports of the mobile games. If this is an issue, perhaps you could eventually one day, not anytime soon, because you gotta put all these developmental energies into giving us 4 through 10. That's most of the series. We need those. Those get priority. But someday, maybe you could, remake these or put them into just take the assets of these games 1 through 3 and put them in something like the Carbon engine to make them just run smoothly. And you don't have to worry about the stutter if that's not something you can patch out of these, which I assume maybe it's not because you haven't done it yet. So if there's an issue with removing the stutter, you can always just take the assets, put them in a new engine. They're simple games. It doesn't seem like it would be that crazy to do that. But again, we got other obligations, Square Enix, don't we? Yes, we do. We have other obligations to look at. Not remaking ones that we already have in HD 2D. Why? Because we already have them. We don't need them. If you want to remake a game in HD 2D, let's make it 5 or 6, or you could even do something cool with 9. Probably not HD 2D, but you know what I'm saying? So guys, thanks for my little soapbox here. I would recommend that you get on a soapbox too, dear viewer, dear Dragon Quest enthusiast. Let's make our voice heard here. We need to really hold Square Enix accountable. By the way, Square Enix, we love you guys. This is a weird flamey video for me. I have to do these sometimes because this is just, I find it a little bit inexcusable. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, I look at all the preservation efforts Square Enix is making, and I just see Dragon Quest getting left out to dry. And the weird thing is, we're actually getting Dragon Quest spin-off games left and right. We just had months ago Dragon Quest Treasures released. This week, it came out on PC. And then in a couple months, we've got Dragon Quest Infinity Strash, an action RPG coming out. And then at the end of the year, we got Dragon Quest Monsters, a new Dragon Quest Monsters game coming out. This is all very, very exciting. And what makes it exciting is that Dragon Quest, the mainline series, has been so great for so long. That is the reason to be excited about an Infinity Strash, or about a Monsters, or about a Treasures. These games are the gateway to caring about Dragon Quest. So please, please take this amazing franchise and just make it available in just a bare bones way. That's all we really need. If you want to remake them, you want pixel remasters or whatever you got up your sleeve, cool. Can we get them though? Do we have to wait a million years? If we have to wait a while, probably would be pretty practical to just go ahead and publish those, digital versions of the games that we really need. 4 through 6 mainly. Okay guys, I'm gonna jump off my soapbox here. Have a really good day. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I out of my mind? Am I on one here? Am I on some kind of Francis stuff? I don't know, maybe I am. Let me know in the comments. Catch you later.